And we're live, I think.
Yep, there we go.
Welcome back, Doug.
Welcome back.
Where'd you go, man?
I forgot to add myself back in.
Yeah, that happens.
What would we do without you? Host and producer.
Something like that.
Well, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us on another week of the Hunters Happy Hour. Anybody remember or know how many weeks we are deep into this? 6,
8.
7?
This is officially 8.
8.
Yeah, 9 including yours.
Right on. Week 8.
No, it's not 8.
It is 8.
Oh.
8 weeks ago, the mind of Ronald Boehme cooked this all up.
Oh, no.
No.
Your idea. Oh, you guys. Yeah. No, you just said you needed an old guy with character to come on and put a little levity into
we needed somebody with a raper stash. So in case you guys haven't noticed, Tyler Webster is not with us today. He is doing 2 things. 1, he is celebrating his grandma's 87th birthday, and 2, he is shopping for a new scented candle for his bedroom.
What's happening? My question is, what's happening this weekend that he needs a scented candle?
It's just his thing. He
if you have to ask.
No, well, we've got the explanation multiple weeks in a row now. He likes to smoke cigars, but he hates the smell of cigars, or maybe he hates the post smell of cigars. So he lights a scented candle as he smokes his cigar.
That sounds like that's borderline like
suspect.
That's like
I think it's questionable.
Status.
Yeah.
Well,
you should
pick Tyler. It'll all make sense.
Tropical paradise candles, and I mean, it's not like. It's not like Cinnamon or whatever, but yeah.
Hey, you're not going to believe what I was just reading on my phone. Top 10 80s porn movies. Because I wanted to see what character I would look like.
Oh, I thought we were talking about for hour 2.
Yeah.
No. Oh. At least, I wanted to see what this mustache. I wanted to see what movie I was more like one of the stars in. I haven't found it. I'm on. Number 8 is The Adventures of Buttman. That's how far I got.
I was looking through the archives the other day, and I saw that, and it looks exactly like you.
I'm going to keep looking while you guys figure this out. There's got to be a movie where I might have played the person with this mustache.
And it looks like everybody's already going to start ripping on my dog. If he could only spell Andrew in proper English. Oh, wait, never mind. He fixed it.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, so we don't have Tyler. And again, I was going to say, I thought it was pretty clear, none of us are real good except for Ben. None of us are really good at calling turkeys, but apparently Tyler was just real embarrassed about it and didn't want to show up.
I'm going with that, too.
That's
absolutely.
I don't
if it's
the expert,
Yeah. But I guess we should wish Tyler's 87-year-old grandmother a happy birthday. So happy birthday. I don't know if it's Mrs. Webster or what, but
I'll also echo that my wife turns 30 today, and she's being super gracious about having me come in and play with y'all. So
are you gonna at least be bringing her beers today instead of the vice versa?
No, she'll bring me a beer if I ask her.
Boy, you guys got nerve.
A lot of damn gall.
You do.
As my dad would say. You have a lot of damn gall.
Well, we do have a special guest this week. He's in the top right corner. Ben Brettingen, man, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me on here. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good time.
So I'm nervous about introducing you as far as who you work for. I'll let you do that.
So technically, if you want to go here, so I worked for Primos Hunting. I now work for Onyx Maps. But once you get in the Primos family, you'll always be in the Primos family. So
that's cool.
I'm excited to be here talking turkey with you guys from my Primos family. So
yeah. So when you and I connected, we were actually going to go on a hunt last fall, which is kind of a bummer that it got canceled. But I got to know you through Primos. Tell us a little bit about your experience there, what you did, and your time at Primos.
So I'm born and raised in Minnesota, for the first 20 some odd years of my life. That's where I called home. And one day I got a call saying, hey, this guy from Primos is going to be calling you. You should probably pick up the phone. And I said, all right, why not? I'm never going to move to Mississippi, but I might as well entertain it. And a week later, I was on a dang plane to Mississippi, which I didn't even know that planes came here. Like they have airports and whatnot. But I've been here for the last 5 years, and I started out as the executive producer of TV and video. So Primos Truth About Hunting and all of our online content. And then recently I moved into the brand manager role, so all marketing and whatnot. But, it's been great. In my old role, my executive producer role, it was nice because it'd be like, all right, I'm sick of the office. I'm just going to go out and hunt with the boys for a week or two. And, I got to learn from some of the best with Will and Brad and Jimmy and all those guys. It was pretty fun to be able to turkey hunt, deer hunt, elk hunt with them. So it's been quite a dang wild ride.
I'm just curious, you went to college or school for film production, or did you just lie on your resume?
Yeah, just completely lied. Like I said, it was this big.
Yeah.
TV.
That's the beard length of the bird behind you, right?
Yeah, that's a Merriam's. Yeah, big, super long dude. No, so
5-inch spurs.
I had an Aunt Miriam that had a beard, but that's another story.
Just ask my wife how long that beard is. She'll be able to give you an accurate answer. But no, so I went to school for natural resources, and I was all set up to do my my master's in prescribed fire and habitat or rangeland management, and then life happened and ended up starting to work for a magazine, and then after that got into kind of a film role. So I have no traditional videography or film experience. It's what I've kind of found in this industry, it's not something that is taught at a college or anything like that. It's just something that you pick up on the job and kind of a mishmash of different things that you end up learning from. So
yeah.
So previous to Primos, were you already big time into hunting and fishing, or did you kind of have a specialty within hunting that you were already playing in?
Yeah, so my big thing is when I graduated from high school, the reason I went to school at the North Dakota State is I loved to duck hunt. So I was just a duck hunting fool, geese, whatever. So I spent most of my time up in Paradise hunting ducks and geese, and then I moved back to Minnesota and I went on a deer hunting kick just because duck hunting in Minnesota is nowhere near North Dakota, and then just started to branch out. And growing up I did it pretty much everything: bird hunted, turkey hunted, deer hunted, whatever. But it wasn't until I actually moved to Mississippi, of all places, that I super got into upland and whatnot. So kind of a weird thing because I'm nowhere near, bird country down here. I mean, we've got reminiscence of quail and woodcock, but now I torture myself and had to drive 15, 20 hours to Kansas, South Dakota, whatever. So
have you done the woodcock hunting down there as they fly through?
Yep. Yeah. So I just got in that in the last couple of years, and I started in Louisiana just because that's kind of what you heard. That was the Mecca. But
sure,
this year I was driving a half hour, 45 minutes, and we were running into 3-4 coveys a day and moving 10, 12 woodcocks. So I just kind of figured it out around home recently. So I'm kind of kicking myself now. Moving back to Minnesota. So
what's when you're hunting woodcock in Mississippi, are you getting on big tracts of public land, or what does the landscape look like?
So there's a couple WMAs that they manage for woodcock and quail that I'll go and hunt on, and a lot of the just giant like national forest land, Bienville National Forest, just sprawling pine thickets. Pretty much, there's a lot of woodcocks. It's just getting in there and kind of figuring it out. So
yeah. So it sounds like I've never hunted in Mississippi, but it sounds like there is some decent public land access there.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is about down here is nobody is out hunting quail or
Sure.
woodcock. Like the one guy I ran into, like he's like, yeah, I run into maybe like 2 or 3 other people a year, and I know pretty much all of them. It's like you're the first new guy I've ever seen on this tract of land in 5 years. So
You hear that so often, like with upland hunting all over the place. Like people are like, "Oh, you want access to my land to hunt upland birds? Sure, go ahead." And I understand it, but it's a small community, but it's still kind of funny that we can be such a small group of people.
oh yeah, it's just that's the one thing. Like when you get into it, it's just
Sometimes I think there's only 11 of us.
Yeah, and 9 of us have podcasts.
Yeah.
Well, and that'll lead me. So your upland hunting brought you into it. Before everyone asks, you do have a bird dog. So what type of bird dog you run?
So I've got, I don't know if I'm going to get shit about this, but I've got 2 draughts. So I run the German dogs. And yes, they're not only exclusive bird dogs, they'll hunt cats, raccoons, coyotes, all that fun stuff. So,
Which also led you. So you're actually a podcast host too.
yep.
Yeah.
So I started the Draught cast. So all about the JGHV, which is the German testing system, and all about the breed. Just because when I got into it, I mean, everything was in damn German. Like all the forms are in German. You can't read them.
Wenn ein bisschen schmeckt in meine Tönüff.
Whatever.
I can read it.
I don't know what to do.
He doesn't know what it means either, so don't let him fool you.
When it tastes best, quit. But I never learned that.
He starts speaking German really well after
kind of a
his
good
fifth or
tip.
sixth beer.
I'll be fluent in 3 more languages soon.
So what's the status of the Draught? Is that still active?
Beautiful.
It hasn't been, with this new job. I've just kind of, I went through like 20, 30 episodes, just trying to get people. My whole goal is just to help them get through the testing system and just put that out as kind of evergreen content. But,
Okay.
now I've had the chance just to kind of slow down a little bit. So I'm going to be picking that up here in the next week or 2 again and start putting out episodes again. Just kind of everything is settled down a little bit. So.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't. I listened to Tyler's podcast with you today. I'm like, oh yeah, that proves there is only 11 of us in this room because I'm like, oh, that's the guy that did that. Oh Jesus, we're not even meeting a stranger right here.
Yeah. Highly rated podcast on iTunes. The Droughtcast.
No, it's not. Don't lie to him.
It's super highly rated, but I think like 7 or 8 people listen to it. So cool.
All of them like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
There's no bad review.
It's not the width of your audience, it's the depth of it, right?
Yeah,
So
something
that's
like
all
that.
that matters.
So I said, just make if everyone makes 20 accounts, I'll have a ton of great reviews.
Yeah. We got to get your mom to get in there and use all her accounts to give some 5 stars.
Oh yeah.
I remember
Podcasting 101.
I always look and see what's coming up there, and every once in a while something will slip in. I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was a new one. And I know when I saw yours, I said, wow, this guy's doing a podcast. He doesn't even know what he's doing yet. But at least he's bringing on the right guests.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. It's like
You did a good job of bringing on, like, you didn't come out there like Tyler, like our buddy Tyler who's not here. I'm going to have a podcast. I don't know shit from pudding, but I'm going to act like I do. Then started a podcast and said, look, I need to find out more shit, so I'm going to make a podcast about it.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, it was like I was in it for like a year and a half and it passed 2 tests, and it's just like I don't know shit, but I know there's a lot of people that do, and I could probably learn from them. So
Not a bad way to go about it.
I've had people ask me so many times, when are you going to do an episode on the Draught? And I said it's already been done. It's not done by me. I'll stay off. I'm not going to speak. I can't speak German all day. I can only speak a few words. So,
well, I think if you over the course of an evening with enough beer, I think you would be quite fluent in German. No one would understand what the hell we're talking about, but it would. Yeah, sure.
Ja, wo ist Van Hafselhoden? Na? Yeah? Ja? Ja, Dreismel und Vincent. Oh, that's not good.
You got the mustache to go with it. Which is
Yeah, that guy's a And
the best part is when he gets obnoxious, we just do this. And
like, all right, so you guys just want to switch to German for the rest of the
podcast? We're just going to talk.
Yeah, we're running it through a Google Translate here.
I was just literally going to pull it up and say, here we go. Why does it say Ron's talking bullshit?
Oh,
too funny.
Oh, Ron's cranked up.
Yeah.
Oh, Ron's daughter's watching.
Where? Oh, Kelsey?
Yeah.
I love you too, Kelsey.
I'm so glad I could bring you guys into like the Third Reich atmosphere. I don't think you guys have ever been there before, so this is a great opportunity.
This is new ground, new uncharted territory.
Wow.
So what we brought Ben on for was to hopefully get into a little bit of turkey calling, turkey hunting tactics. So I see a couple people have already started putting questions down.
Yep.
In the blah blah down there, as my buddy Carl would call it. So Ben, maybe we could just get started. Somebody just getting into turkey hunting, right? So they're brand new to it. Maybe they want to pick it up and start taking their kid. What are some musts? Give us 4 or 5 things that I think that every turkey, everybody should know getting into turkey hunting. Like, what are some things that, whether it's gear or just overall tactics that you think might be good while we're waiting for questions to come in?
Yeah, so the number one thing with turkey hunting is you are pretty much trying to reverse engineer nature. So remember that every time you're sitting there, trying to call a turkey, you're making hen sounds. In reality, in nature, what happens is the reason why the gobbler is, gobbling is he's trying to pull hens into him. So every time that you're trying to call, you're pretty much trying to do the opposite of what nature is intending. So that's one of the big things to remember is you try to frame it in that mindset because, a lot of the times, a lot of new people will sit and just call their absolute brains out. And, that's it. Just imagine being in a bar and there's, a guy that's, a girl just you're just somebody harping on it. And it's just like, oh, just back off, leave me alone. But if you get a lady sitting over in the corner, just giving a little charm and chit chat, just a little. What's she doing? Like, damn.
Oh, I had my first wife.
Yeah. So it's just that's a mindset you got to think in. It's just like, oh, this is not what's supposed to happen. So. That's the main thing I like to tell people. It's just that's the frame of mind you have to think about it. Another big thing is, it's just kind of a location game. So there are, what are there, 4 or 5 subspecies? There's Osceolas down in Florida, Easterns, which are primarily in the eastern half. They kind of cross over into Kansas, the Dakotas, Nebraska, whatnot. Then you have Merriam's. Then you have Rios, kind of that Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma area. What else am I missing? Then you go down into Florida and you have Goulds and all sorts of ocellated and weird stuff. But each subspecies is different as well, and even like the eastern turkey within the eastern half of the U.S. is different. So down here in Mississippi, these turkeys are just complete fucking assholes. They're they're the smartest creatures alive for having a brain this big. But then you go up back where Nick and I are from up in Minnesota, and you'd swear they're the dumbest creatures alive.
Yeah.
So they're pretty dumb. They're pretty dumb.
They're pretty damn dumb. Except if you come down here and you could just bang your head against a wall for days and weeks on end.
Well, do you attribute that to decades of pressure, or do you attribute it to, like we talk about our grouse up north in the upper Midwest being hard to shoot at, hard to get, hard for a dog? You go over the Canadian border and the grouse don't have the same pressure.
Selection over time, yeah.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, it's just natural selection because all the turkeys that sit out in fields, like you're driving down 94 through Wisconsin into Minnesota, and there's turkeys in the spring. There's turkeys strutting out in fields, and
yep.
you would be hard pressed. I think I've seen 2 turkeys in my 5 years down here ever strut and gobble in a field. Like even driving, like seeing them in the road, like you're driving down 94 and every little nook and cranny that looks like, oh, there'd be a turkey there, down here doesn't happen. So all the dumb turkeys that strut and gobble in fields and do their thing, they're dead. So it's just a whole different type of bird, which is, I don't know. I turkey hunt because it's fun. I don't deer hunt turkeys. There's like the guys down here, they just absolutely get off on like the experience, like the fun turkey hunt where it's like, oh, this turkey gobbled once and I scratched the leaves and clucked once and purred a couple times and I shot him. I like the show. That's why I turkey hunt. I want one just hammering hard, gobbling, coming into your face, but just different regions. It's, the South is super steeped in turkey hunting tradition, which is cool. We've got the Tom Kellys and the 10th Legion. Like if you ever get the chance to read that book, like that is just, it gives me the tingles just thinking about it. I've got goosebumps talking about Tom Kelly, the Colonel. So it's pretty cool down here how people get so fired up about turkey hunting.
Did you start hunting turkeys in Minnesota? Does it go that far back for you?
Yeah, so I got my start. I think it was like we went to one of the DNR courses my dad and I did, like right when turkey hunting was first like starting to get big and expanding, and went to a seminar and we killed one the first day. We didn't know our ass from a hole in the ground. Yeah. And killed one, and then and it just started getting into it. It's just something to do in the spring. And then when I moved to North Dakota, I realized people in like the Moorhead area and around there, like nobody turkey hunted. So you just had prime access to ground that was pretty much untouched. So that's where I got my start. And then after that, I started traveling. I do Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and had some really good mentors that had been into it for a while. So cool. Really helped cut my learning curve. So.
Oops. Responding to somebody.
Doug, easy.
No, I was thought I was going to spill my beer.
Oh, I thought Ben had a cigar in his hand for a minute, but he had a turkey call stick.
It's a striker.
It looks like a Harry Potter wand.
Oh yeah, it does kind of look like a wand.
Yeah, it's like Harry Potter. What's those? You know what? I'm a big Harry Potter fan. Even though you guys are young,
I'm into it. I never read all the books, but
my daughter Kelsey and Mackie and Jesse read all the books. My wife has a Harry Potter room in her house. Literally, I'm serious. Yeah.
I know the first time
you to Hogwarts.
The first time you had AJ on your podcast, you guys started talking about Harry Potter.
Hey, let's take care of a couple questions. I got to shut up.
Well, Ben just mentioned Nebraska. So that last question there, somebody was asking about if you had happened to see the Eastern Merriam-Rio cross-up when you were in Nebraska.
Yeah, so it's funny. Like I went out to like northern Nebraska, and I had never shot never shot a Merriam's at the time. We were in like northwestern Nebraska, and I tried for like 4 years. I would shoot Easterns every single time. And finally, like it would start, the fans would start to get more white, but then you'd get that kind of tan influence in it. So actually, it wasn't the picture that you shared, but I have one that is like just a complete, like, what the hell are you? It was a little bit of everything. So kind of, all right, let's bring it back to Harry Potter. It was a bit of a mudblood. Yeah.
Oh, good harmony.
So first question that pops up. So for beginners, what is the easiest turkey call to learn? So I'm guessing it's diaphragm versus slate versus box.
Yeah. So it's for me personally, the diaphragm, the mouth call, one of the harder calls to master. Mm-hmm. Probably one of my favorites still to this day is the pot and peg, the slate call. They come in different surfaces. Like this is a glass call over here. This is the power crystal. It's tried and true. It's killed millions of turkeys. And then, but then the Pennsylvania slate is this one. This is the jackpot, which we don't make anymore, but the rare breed for Primos is a good one as well. But it's super easy just to make basic sounds to cluck, purr, yelp on. It doesn't take much. I mean, you can kind of see here. It's just all it is.
Yeah.
So it's super easy to learn. That's a good one. If I was starting out, I would have. Just depends how bad you want to get into it. We make like push button calls. Like all you have to do is just push the button, and you can probably kill turkeys. But if you want to get a little bit more into it, the slate call or pot and peg, or the box call is another good one. I mean, box calls. First, when I was starting out, I just didn't think they sounded that good, so I just kind of cast it aside. But when I got into it more, like you realize the benefits of a box call. They're super loud. And they don't, like, to me, they just don't sound like a slate call sounds like a turkey. A box call doesn't. But to, like, pull a gobble out of a turkey, the box call is awesome because it's got just a super shrill front end and then a good rasp to it. So if you look at how a box call is built, the paddle here is kind of a concave.
Yep.
And then you have the box, obviously. So you get the super shrill high end when you're out here like this, like the... And then you get the rasp out of it. So it doesn't sound turkey to me, but that high end. I mean,
I'm not a turkey, Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
I would agree with that. I'm like, I am the beginner here. I didn't pick up a turkey call. I went on my first hunt last year. I fiddled with the calls, but I was terrible. This year, I'm planning on my first solo hunt next week, and I picked up the calls. Would totally agree with you. This has been the easiest one for me to actually feel like I sound like a turkey. The box call, again, I'm getting a little bit better with it, but I have the same thing where it seems so high pitched to me that I feel like it just doesn't work. But I know that it's operator error at this point. But
I started with a diaphragm call, and it was the stupidest option for me to start with. It was.
There's the world's best daughter and son-in-law, her first turkey this year. How's that, boys?
I like that. That's
good. Yeah. Bam. Bam.
Did you call it in?
Yeah, I said, send me that picture.
It looked like it was. That was funny.
Yeah.
So how do you use a box call then, Ben?
So the nice thing, like, I'm biased obviously, but we spend at Primos, we spend a ton of time. Like we have some of the best calls, and a lot of people say it's like, well, I can buy it at Walmart. It's not that great a call. But the cool thing about Primos calls is we don't, at our CNC shop down in Brookhaven, Mississippi, they build them all, like they get the wood shipped in and they build them all CNC. But then the really interesting part is we hire a lot of musicians because they have the ear for it. So they can hear that note. And they're like, oh, that note is perfect. There might not be turkey hunters, but they can hear, all right, that makes the note that we want every time. And this is a prototype, but every single call has a stamp on it right there that somebody has hand tuned.
Yep.
So like Roger did this one right here.
Yeah.
Like I know who they are. So these calls are designed to be super user friendly. So the weight of the paddle is a big thing, and how it's designed with the box. So, you don't need to be putting any pressure on the lid against the box. All you have to do is just, I pretty much make a V with my fingers, hold it like this, and just go. I don't put any pressure on it at all.
What kind of wood is that, Ben?
This is, I think it's a mahogany lid on it, or I think it's mahogany on the lid, and I'm not sure what the box is. Might be maple, but every the little heartbreaker. If you can find a little heartbreaker, they're going for stupid amounts of money on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on eBay. But you can still buy the tall timber is pretty close to it. Like, this is the freaking best box call I have ever ran in my life.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's I mean, it's if I was gonna go out and let's just say I was gonna never been to a spot before, and I got out there at daybreak and I wanted to strike a turkey, I would have a box call in my hand, just because the resonance, and you can get super loud on it and reach out and touch them, and that high pitched shrill, even though it doesn't sound like a turkey, like that is what is going to pull a gobble out of something on the limb or even on the ground. Like if you're prospecting, walking around in the middle of the day and want to get a turkey to gobble, I will have a box call in my hand.
So go ahead, Doug.
No, I should say, so when you go out and you go and you set up, do you typically have 2 or 3 different styles of calls with you so that you bounce back, or do you go out saying, this hunt I'm using a box call, this hunt I'm using this, or do you kind of take a blend with them and then you kind of pick based off of what you're trying to do or accomplish with you?
Yeah, so I have my vest looks like a damn, I should be in the military. Like I have 30, my vest weighs 30 pounds.
Oh my God.
I mean, like I'll carry 2 box calls, 4 slate calls, 6 mouth calls, gobble tube, which I don't have my gobble tube, but Ron's got one. I sent one to Ron.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There's a reason you sent that one to him.
Yeah, I did, totally.
In hour 2, I'm going to show you how to use this.
San Diego style or regular style?
Yeah, I'm going to show the listeners how to use, because I used to be a squirrel caller. There's a lot to it. We'll wait a little bit.
And if he doesn't show you, I have video from rehearsal or from the promo that we'll share as blackmail if he doesn't.
So if there is a good reason to hang around to hour 2,
yeah,
it is going to be to watch Ron operate the gobble tube or the gobble shake or San Diego style.
All of them.
And I didn't confirm that it was
2Ds.
Let's see, I didn't confirm if it was for sure, but do we still have a promo code that we can share in hour 2?
So we will. We just switched over platforms for our website, but we're going to be doing some giveaways. So we're going to be giving away this Tall Timber Gabriel here. We're going to be giving away a pot call, mouth calls. So
Yeah.
That's
so
fantastic.
and then
So I was gonna do this.
No, go ahead, man. Do your question.
Well, I was just gonna ask you because I'm like thinking tactics, and I'm really thinking about, because I'm gonna be out there hunting next week, and I'm like blind squirrel kind of thing. But so you said you'd bring a box call, like if you were new spot, maybe trying to reach out and pull something in. One thing that I have heard, and I haven't done a whole lot of reading on turkey tactics and stuff, but one thing I heard was like when you first call, you get to a spot, you first call, you start quiet because you never know if you're right on top of something. I mean, is that a good advice?
Yep, 100%. Especially the best thing, what I like to do is like if it's still dark out and it's just getting to be that like bewitching hour where it's just starting to break day and they're gobbling on the limb, is I don't even like to use a turkey call, like a hen noise, because I don't want to know that, as soon as you start with a box call or making like a turkey sound, like, all right, they're keyed in, they know you're there.
Right.
So I like to use a locator call, an owl call, a coyote call, a goose call. I sent a peacock call to you.
Yep, I got that one.
You also can do like a pileated woodpecker.
Yeah, it's woodpecker, coyote, and peacock. I don't know what it sounds, because the second I started blowing it, my wife was like, "You need to get out of here now."
Yeah.
Then you're doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just a bunch, but then when you use that locator call, they don't know that you're there. Like they're like, okay, that's just a crow or an owl or something. So like when I get to a new area and it's, even if it's like in the morning, I won't start with turkey calls. I'll start with a locator call. And my favorite thing to do is just great for call sales, but I just like make owl sounds with my voice.
Yep.
Like that. Yep. Exactly. So I'll just go.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
And then
Yeah.
Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?
That's right.
Like money. So that's what I'll start out with. Just to make sure, like, all right, if they're close. And then the whole goal with that for me is if I can make them gobble with my voice, great. But what I try to do is fire up other owls. So then there'll be an owl that strikes up at 100 yards and then the next one at 200 yards. And
chain reaction.
Exactly. And then they're like, all right, this is completely natural. Like they don't, it's like, well, that all sounds funny or whatever. Like it's just regular life for a turkey. So,
yeah.
And then off the roost, I'll go there. If I strike one and I hear it gobble, I'll try to get, 150, 200 yards to it. And that's kind of when the fun begins. So,
yeah. Cool. I did pick up an owl call, and I've been working on that with my voice too. So I did go on a hunt last year with 3 guys they'd done plenty of turkey hunting. So I got a really good immersive experience with some good mentors last year, and it was a ton of fun. And like I remember one morning we hiked way in, got on top of this ridge, and we were in good classic turkey country in Wisconsin, like the driftless region, and we got up there right at that same, we were a little late actually. The sun was getting up, it was getting light, and my buddy blew this owl call, and it was like all over the ridge. Yeah, like that was like, as a new turkey hunter, it's like, wow, this is it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like if you've never done, like turkey hunting to me is a lot like elk hunting. It's like it's the same thing, and it gets in your blood.
Yeah,
because I love bird hunting, but there's something about sitting in, with just breaking day and just having 3 or 4 turkeys hammering off in front of you. It's if you've never done it before, it's something you gotta do.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Now we'll get to John's question.
Yeah.
So it says, regarding beginners to turkey diaphragm calls, other than just trying various calls, what are the best criteria to use for getting a diaphragm call that fits you and suits you?
So, that's the hard thing about diaphragm calls is there's, it's pretty much different strokes for different folks because we all have different palate shapes on our mouth. So the top of your mouth there, like, all right, this call right here is just our normal one. But if I have a really narrow palate, like there's a chunk of metal in here. Like it's so like that's about as wide or about as narrow as you can get it right here. Mm-hmm. So we take a hack down series that's going to be a little smaller piece of metal. So it's all about getting this tape that goes around the call right here is to seal with your palate. So unfortunately, it kind of sucks because you have to buy a number of them, but try a bunch of different cuts. So the cut is pretty much there's this. If you're not familiar with mouth calls, there are reeds here, either latex or prophylactic. So you'll have to remind me in the next hour to tell you how Will Primos got started building turkey calls.
I bet you it's somewhat related to the name prophylactic.
Exactly. Yeah. So you'll have to stick around for hour 2 for that. But so the top reed normally a lot of the early turkey calls didn't have any cuts in them. But you can see,
and wait a minute, the punchline is, and it was her girlfriend that made the first turkey call.
Oh my God.
Hour 2, he said.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So anyways,
yeah, so they were just a straight cut before, right?
Yep. So it was just like 1, 2, or 3 reeds of latex or whatever across the top here. And now you can see like there's a cut. Like this one is a combo cut right here. And they have a bunch of various different ones, a bat cut, a turkey foot cut. Yep. So I sent you guys the combo cut because this is the one I use the most. So, but essentially each one of them, it's just really different, like all this, like everyone loves a bat cut, and a bat cut is pretty universal. Like that's most people, if you're getting to the point where you can blow a turkey call pretty well, a bat cut is super versatile. And let me see if I have a bat cut here.
I don't want to be Captain Obvious while you're looking, Ben.
Yeah.
If I were to take a scissors and do something else to a cut, it's totally going to change this noise.
Yeah. So what they do, like we have people down here in Mississippi that they sit and they cut them with a scissor. So every single cut is hand cut on the turkey call. So this is a hard one because it's prophylactic, so it's hard to see. It's all clear, but you probably won't be able to see that. But see that little tip sticking out there?
Yep. Yep.
Like it's pretty much just the cut is like that, and a bad cut is pretty universal for you making a lot of sounds. That's what you see on like the Grand National stage. The guys at the NWTF competitions, a lot of them are going to blow a bad cut, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily right for you. So it's hard because you don't want to go spend a pile of money on mouth calls, but just go buy, 3-4 different calls: a combo cut, a bat cut, a turkey foot, a spike cut. Just try it.
Could somebody take and trim around the tape area to try to get it to fit a little bit better without it impacting the call?
Yep. The tape is so like if you're getting air leaking through there, yeah, it's like, all right, this doesn't fit my mouth very well. Go ahead and trim that tape and try to get it so it just forms that seal, because all this is doing is making sure that air is passing over the reeds versus slipping around the tape. So and so we've got like I think it's like a 12 or 15 part series. If you go to the Primos YouTube channel, it's like a 12 or 15 part series from the beginning on how to blow a mouth call. So it's pretty good. And Troy Ruiz does it, and he's a damn awesome turkey caller.
I watched some of Troy's videos.
Is that the series that he's teaching a bunch of youngsters? Or is that different?
Yeah, so we did one where it was just like from start to finish, picking a cut and like going into yelping, cutting, purring, fly down, cackle, whatever. So and then he also did one where he was teaching a beginner on how from square one how to do it. So if you need to learn how to do it, that's a great opportunity.
So part of Dale's question I think was already answered, but so does Ben prefer to run and gun or sit and wait? And what type of call should everyone use to learn first? And I think we kind of hit on that, the slate or box call or something. But are you a run and gun, or are you a sit and wait them out and bring them to you?
If I wanted to sit and wait, I'd be deer hunting. That's not turkey hunting to me. I am. If I don't hear a turkey, I'm not going to sit there and call there. Especially in the Midwest or the Northeast or the East, where it's pretty prevalent. I'm going to be on the move trying to strike a new turkey. If you don't have a lot of ground, or if you're running trail cameras and you know that there's going to be a turkey there every day at 12:50, it will drive me batshit crazy to sit there and wait one out. But that's another tactic you can do is if they're coming to this field every day at 10 o'clock in the morning, sit there. But for me, I like to go run and gun and call and try to strike a turkey and play that game. So
let me ask you, so the run and gun game, right? So you get out there and you're out there before sun comes up, and maybe you put some birds to roost, right? But you're not hearing anything in the morning. How much time do you spend waiting on getting birds to respond before you decide, hey, you know what, this is not working out, we probably need to get up and push on? Or in the same regard, you get birds that are making noise and they're, you hear them in the timber, but they're not pushing towards you. How much time do you spend working that bird to try to get them to come to you before you decide to bring the game to them?
So, off the roost, if it gets to about 15 minutes before sunrise, and it's, think about bow hunting time, or archery or deer hunting, if it's getting light enough where you could shoot a deer at 100 yards and I don't hear a bird gobbling, I'm moving on. I'm going to go keep trying to prospect and try to find birds, because a lot of the times they're going to be gobbling way better off the roost than they are off the ground. And that's a rule of thumb. It doesn't always work that way. So if I don't hear one 15 minutes before sunrise, I'm gone. I'm going to try something else. And even up like a half hour, if I don't hear one 20 minutes before sunrise, I'm going to keep moving on and try to find a bird that's gobbling.
You're not making noise that early though, are you?
No, I'm just listening. I might do a locator call, like an owl.
That's when you're doing the owls right before the sun starts to rise.
And then say I don't hear one off the roost, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to strike off. I'm going to start walking, and every 150 yards I'm going to owl hoot and try to strike one up. And say it gets to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I just haven't struck anything, then I'll start to bust out a box call and really start harping on them. So every 150, 200 yards, I'm going to just start, sit and listen. All right, I didn't hear one. I'm going to keep moving on. Do that about every 150, 200 yards until I get, until I run into one pretty much. And so that's the way I like the turkey hunt. It's pretty aggressively. So
when you're starting that run and gun process, so if you're not like up here, most guys are starting out on the field's edge, right? Because I would guess that most people are killing birds in agriculture fields or at the ends of some sort of a meadow or a cut. Yeah. So if that's not the case in Mississippi, I guess, what types of cover, if you're hunting eastern, when you're running gun, are you hitting the timber, or are you walking timber edges, or where are you heading from that point to go and search them out?
Yeah. So, it just really depends on the area you're in, but as a rule of thumb, like big hardwood open bottoms, like think about like the most beautiful, big, mature, like the worst grouse and woodcock habitat possible.
Yep.
That is where you're going to find turkeys, because they can see their main sense and to try to find danger is their eyes. So they want to be able to see for a long ways. So those big maple, oak, hardwood areas, like that is prime turkey habitat, because they'll just be in there, foraging for acorns and whatnot, just scratching around. But then you get in the south, and rarely will you ever, like thickets, if it gets real thick, like think grouse, woodcock cover, just like get out of there. Like it's not worth it.
We typically like a lot of evergreens too.
Yep.
Like big open jack pine. You could tell that they were old jack pine farms, or so they have
pine plantations and stuff.
Yeah, yep. So your redwoods or red pines and whatnot, where you've got big high canopies and just open nothing.
Yeah. So if you can walk through the forest floor and like not be getting snagged on briars, like if you pretty much a good rule of thumb is if you don't have to wear briar pants, that's
you're good.
Going to be a good turkey area.
That's Doug. You're asking like some of the questions that I'm right along my lines of thinking. So that's good, because where I'm going to be hunting next week in Wisconsin I know the area because I grouse hunt it. So like that's the only thing I have going for me is I know the country, and I know there's birds there. There's turkeys there. They're right down the road from my cabin and everything. So my question was going to be like, let's just hypothetically say I'm probably going to get down there. I'm going to try to hear something going on the night before. Let's just say I don't hear anything. What am I going to do? I've got one spot in mind where it's a big high ridge. There's red pine plantation nearby. I've seen this. There's an open like saddle, and there's actually these little ground blinds that I think people deer hunt out of. So I was going to try to get there, but obviously I'm going to be listening as I go. And that was what I was going to ask you is like, if I don't have a spot to go where I think there's a bird roosted, like you're just moving, you're moving at like a kind of a regular pace and calling and trying to get something going. Cause I've got the land. I can go anywhere, and I have endless places to hunt. So I could just keep moving through the woods and calling basically.
Yeah. So, one of the main things I look for is creek bottoms. Like creek bottoms, like the big hardwoods are like a turkey magnet. So that's where I spend a lot of time, like we do for bird hunting, is you get on Onyx and start, all right, let's find a big area where there's Ron's got it right there. Here. So you get on a big, gosh, we're just
everybody's got Onyx gear but me.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta do a little bit more networking, Doug.
Ben's got to send you some gear now.
Exactly. So that's the other thing is I don't think we said that, but I just started for Onyx this week. So
yeah. All right. So creek bottoms, but I think generally speaking, I think I will be more of a run and gun turkey hunter just because that's what I'm out there to do. I'd rather just walk around through the woods kind of thing, but it'll be a lot of trial and error, obviously.
So, it's exactly. And I'm going to try to later on I can go find a piece of property and we can try to kind of break it down a little bit and we'll just pick a random piece of public land. I've never been there or whatever. And we can find, all right, here's a giant piece of Chippewa National Forest and where might there be turkeys. So
in a way, we're talking a little bit about topography, but what are the topography ABCs? You mentioned creek bottom. I mentioned a high ridge because naturally I'm thinking you can hear a long ways, you can see a long ways. Yeah. What are the other topography ABCs?
I mean, one of the biggest thing is if you can, the main thing you're looking for is big open forest. Like if that's the number one thing, and then, like you said, listening from high ridges, just because you can hear a lot longer. But after that, it's kind of a little bit of a crapshoot. I mean, the nice thing about creeks is generally there's going to be some bigger hardwoods around it, some mass crops, oaks, whatnot. And then, like outside of public land, like fields, corn fields, soybean fields, whatever, are turkey magnets, especially when you get into, southern Minnesota and whatnot. If you have a block of timber, say a 40 or an 80 surrounded by crop fields, there's going to be turkeys there.
Okay, so let's say you're standing in the bottom. This will be my last question for a while. But
let's say Nick's going turkey hunt.
Yeah. Let's say you're standing in the bottom of said creek bottom or on the top of the ridge. You hear gobbler in the distance.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Are you going to, how close does it need to be for you to say, all right, I'm going to sit tight and try to bring this thing in, or I'm going to try to move in on this thing? What's your thought process?
So it's really just dependent on the type of terrain you're working with.
Okay.
If it's super open and let's say it's a big hardwood bottom and I can see 300 yards, I might only be able to get to 300 yards without them seeing me, but I'll generally try to get as close as I can into their comfort zone, because I find that if you sit at 300 yards generally and start yelping on your box call or your slate call, that they're just going to hang up and be like, again, back to kind of that natural tendency of a turkey is the hen's supposed to come to the gobbler. Sure. So I'm going to try to push in as close as I can without getting seen and then start calling.
Okay.
But it's just it all dictates on terrain. Generally, if you're just hunting a good hardwood area, maples, oaks, whatever, about 150, 200 yards is a pretty good general rule of thumb. But the thing you have to be careful about is this time of year, you start to get leaves on the trees.
Yep.
And that is huge. From when you start in early season to when you end in late season, there's no leaves versus leaves. So a turkey a turkey at 500 yards in the early season when there's no leaves, he's like, all right, this turkey is 500 yards away. I might hear a turkey at 100 yards or 150 yards when there's leaves on the trees, and they could be the same distance away. They sound like the same distance away. So that's one thing you have to be really cognizant of for seasonality.
So let's go in and answer this question. And then I've got one that I want to. So have you ever hunted with turkeys with dogs before?
I have not. Never done it. Like Northeast, I know it's I don't know if I'd say it's popular, but the one thing, we were sitting in the office bullshitting the other day, it's like, what I want to do is take a strutter decoy and tie it onto my dog's head. Run after a turkey and let him, because if he sees that turkey, he's going to start creeping a bit so it looks more natural. I think that would be, I don't know if there's any rules against it, but that would be the damn funnest thing ever. And let my dog Herb freaking go maul a turkey. I think that would be the damn fun. I would never turkey hunt.
Providing that meets all game laws, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the legality of it. That would be the damn funnest thing ever to watch, is a freaking dog with a strutter decoy strapped on his back. I don't need to shoot one. That would be great.
Yeah.
But I know there's some guys in the Northeast and whatnot that in the fall especially will go and just pretty much hunt them like they would any other upland bird, CRP, whatnot. So
we have a guy here in Michigan. I've known him for 20 years, Tracy Breen, and he has turkey dogs. He's bought them from down south. He brings them up here. He brought it up to Beaver Island last year when we did our TV show, There's a lot of turkeys on Beaver Island, and I've yet to do it with him. But it sounds basic. Well, everything sounds simple, but his dog just runs like a bird dog, and his turkey dog is part. I think his is part English setter. I think
so. He gave a pretty good description of that on your podcast.
Yeah, and so the dog, you just use your Garmin, and your dog just runs the woods ahead of you, just rah, 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 and you watch, and even if it's out of earshot, all of a sudden you'll see this real sporadic, all over the place on your Garmin, and then you knew the dog, as any dog would, kicking up a flock of turkeys, chases this one, and then it chases that one. And you'll see this real erratic pattern on your GPS. And you get to it, you mark that spot, and then he sits down, puts his dog in a little bag or a little blind, just sits by a tree because they'll want to come back to wherever they were busted.
Yeah,
he pulled it off last fall, but he only got a young of the year. That was the
Jake or something.
Well, it wasn't. I don't even know if it was a Jake. I think it was a Jakette. But anyway, it's. I don't think you're going to take our dogs and do it, but I do know some wire hairs, drought hairs, and German short hairs that wouldn't mind trying.
Oh yeah, this is a freaking story. All right, I'll get into this story. So we bought some turkeys. I wanted to shoot some photos. We bought some wild turkeys here in a pen. Trying to shoot some photos. It was from somebody's backyard. It was an adventure, and so we tried to go shoot photos and get them strutting, gobbling, whatnot. It was an awful plan, terrible plan, because these turkeys were scared out of their mind. We brought them drove 2 hours to go pick them up, and so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna let them go in my yard area, and the old dogs didn't take too kindly to that. So yes, they are turkey dogs. It was a gong show. It was terrible.
You're not going to repeat that performance, are you?
No, never. God, no, ever.
Nice of Brock guy to join us.
Did he?
Brock guy.
Yeah.
Lost flannel. We've gained
and to answer Brock guy's question, yeah, within the first 30 minutes, there was a bit of sex ed talk.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we'll get back into that shortly.
You might notice the over the shoulder beer handoff. So,
hey,
yes.
You need to pursue a sponsorship for Busch Lattes. It is the finest beer north of the equator.
It's an Anheuser.
I would go with Busch Latte if they would put some money up. I would. And
how much money are you getting from Miller?
None.
That's
But I get a lot of pleasure knowing that I keep third shift in.
Yeah. It's a low bar. It's a low bar for any sponsor that wants to jump in. So I'd like to direct that to our listeners here. Let's use the network.
I'd formally like to invite Dragon's Milk and Highland Brewing to.
Not going to happen.
Highlanders
are cheap.
What about a Schlitz or a Blatz or something like that?
Yeah, that's not bad. When I was 14.
Well, I quit drinking beer for Lent one time. I'm fat now, but I was really fat about 15, 18 years ago. And I quit drinking beer for 40 days. Just like when they went across the desert back in 2,000 years ago?
Yeah.
They quit drinking beer when they crossed the desert. And they all got skinny too. And I got skinny. And the problem was unemployment rate ran up in Wisconsin because the breweries got laid off. The third shift got laid off. It was pitiful. I said, I'll never do that again to you.
You got to support the American working man.
That's right. I'm always in support of the working man. And I don't understand why a little guy can't get a sponsorship from a big company like Miller or Busch. And the Busch are that's a hunting family.
I mean, Bob Owens got Busch Light. He got Anheuser.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
It's just a free date if you're not getting money.
Would be nice.
No, so you're telling me you wouldn't accept a sponsorship for just beer if they'd be like, Ron, I'm going to ship you
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
Okay, well
okay. I just wanted to clear that up.
I got that from Perrin last year. Of course, they're closed down now, but Yeah, I got free beer sponsorship.
Like a product sponsorship would be fine.
I can't drink that much Perrin Black. I mean, Jiminy, it's real beer.
So let's do this. It is the top of the hour. So Ron, why don't you ring us into the new hour with a gobble? We'll do a virtual social. Salud. Oh, he's got performance anxiety.
Hold on. Hang on. Now, what I was curious about was, am I going to need a diaphragm in my mouth to do the turkey call?
Well,
no. What do you? You should probably ask your children to jump off now.
I don't think this sounds like a turkey at all.
No, just the guy using it.
Can you confirm if Kelsey is dropped out?
Yeah, Kelsey.
If all my daughters know their dads so well. This Kelsey, if you're still watching,
she is.
Where's my girl? I'm surprised my son-in-law hasn't jumped on. Oh, Kelsey said, Jesus. I had a squirrel call when I was a kid in Illinois, and you put it in your mouth, you go.
That's not how the squirrel call worked.
Yeah, no, I don't think
it doesn't sound that bad.
No, it goes in the cup and you put it in your hand.
You mean that
No,
you go like this.
No, it's just a shaker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
So
I think this is bullshit. This is,
I mean, you look super good doing it. Yeah,
it sounds more like a peacock.
No, this is the peacock call right here.
Let me hear the peacock. Oh,
I don't know how to blow it though.
Have you ever seen a peacock in the wild?
No.
No, but the turkeys will gobble the shit out of a peacock call.
So where did they figure that out? In the zoo?
Hey, you know what's funny? My buddy, he's not watching. In fact, he's one of Kelsey's best friends. Matt Zoll. He's a good turkey hunter, good dog guy, good deer hunter and everything. And he had a piece of property south of me in Spring Lake that was a friend of a friend. And somebody had a peacock can literally live in Michigan climate, live in the trees, and live wild. So I don't know why somebody said peacock, but that just rang a bell. There was this damn peacock with a big tail on it living in the woods. And I mean, I can't say that I heard what it sounded like, but I know it didn't sound like what Nick just did because I didn't hear that stuff the whole day.
It's like a
that.
Okay.
like now do that into your call. And
That's kind of like
that makes a difference.
That's a peacock.
Really?
And then you can do like a pileated woodpecker, which
They kind of sound similar. I can hear it in the back of my mind, but I can't reproduce it.
Oh, that's not the right
that's
one.
No, that's Woody Woodpecker, you donut.
that's like fluttering your tongue like a
Kind of like you're doing a feeder call. But
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah, I was never very good at that one.
Okay, I do have a
that's how
serious.
you gobble with a diaphragm call, by the way.
I got a half serious
Really?
question.
Yeah.
If we're sitting in the woods, right?
Mhm.
We're sitting in the woods, and we want
Ron's
to
looking around. There's something going to come out.
like I'm trying to be like I'm acting. I'm a thespian.
What?
Thespian.
Oh, the computer broke out.
I'm an actor. Not a lesbian. If you're out there in the woods, everything's a hen cluck, a hen call, a hen chatter.
Yep.
When does this thing come into play?
That's a great like locator call. Like
Oh,
if I want or if like you've exhausted all your resources
yeah.
and it's like, all right, here's my last ditch effort. If that turkey's pissed off and wants a fight, then you throw the gobble at it.
That's how one of the guys that I was with last year, my buddy Mike, he had one of those shaker gobble calls, and that's how he used it. And he said it had worked a time or two where it was just kind of last resort, like might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've hunted quite a bit with Will Primos, just filming the show and whatnot, and he's not afraid to bust that gobble tube out. Like dang near every hunt, he will gobble at a turkey.
Is that blackberry, Ron?
Yeah. Cheap Polish blackberry brandy.
Leroux. We drink that at deer camp.
So I'm trying to cut back on
Leroy.
You don't pronounce the X, just Leroy.
Leroy.
I guess we got two questions, and then because one of them I've never seen in here, I think was really good, but then maybe we can get into a little bit of the different types of calls, and we can start embarrassing ourselves in front of everybody.
This will be fun.
So two questions. One, you put some birds to roost, right? And you're going out the next day. What type of distance or what type of proximity would you put yourself to those birds when you go and set up in the morning? And then the second question would be, so like we're moving into so we have basically the way Michigan seasons work. There's week 1, week 2. Those are all done by lottery, right? So you get basically if you get picked for week 1, you only hunt that week. So then they've got this over-the-counter hunt that goes from May 1st to May 30th, right? So we're at the point right now, we're into the second week of the over-the-counter hunt. Birds are just been pressured to death on public lands. Like, is there tactically things that you can do differently to pursue high-pressured birds like that? Are turkeys one of those things that if I park at a trailhead, instead of hunting 300 yards at the trailhead, I trug back 1-2 miles off the trailhead, am I going to find better results? Or
So to answer the first question, like about 150 yards is prime. Like it's hard to get. Like if you can get in tight on one, it can be good. But like I say, with Will Primos, like his advice is always about 150 yards is where you want to be. And, just I don't know if it's just a little bit more an experience. I mean, shit, when he says something, you got to kind of take it as gospel because he's been doing it for years. So about 150 yards is recommended. But if I can get in one's lap like 80, 150 yards even, so they can pitch down on top of me, you almost kind of have to have decoys in that situation. But what 150 yards just so they can't see you, because the big thing is it's like calling elk or they'll get to a spot where they can see. So like say you're hunting, you're trying to call a turkey up a ridge. They get to the top of that ridge, they're infamously just going to like freaking periscope, and all you'll see a lot of time is the head.
So there's really not. So you've basically got 365 degrees around that tree that those birds could come down on. Is there a general rule of thumb saying that most of them are going to fly down into the sun or fly opposite, or can you eliminate directions based off of things like sunlight? Or I know wind probably doesn't play into effect. Smell, I mean, with the turkey, that's not going to impact you. So there really is. It's kind of a crapshoot. You're rolling the dice. So I see somebody in there that Brunella did on one of his podcasts. Somebody did some algebra to kind of calculate, and they said it's a 23% chance that the bird's going to cross your path when you pull them off of a roost. I don't know how accurate that is, but
I mean, it's a complete crapshoot. Like if the best thing to do is if you know where that bird wants to be, try to get in between of where he wants to go. That's where scouting is so important. Like you can sit and listen. All right, like 2 days before the season, he consistently goes west towards a cattle pasture. Then just put yourself in the middle of it. But if, like Nick, like you said, like you don't know, you show up and you don't know where they're going, that's where you can use some little charm and chit chat to get them to kind of start heading your way. So
sure,
little fly down cackle, little clucks and purrs, because the last thing you want to do is start hammering on them on the roost, because a lot of the times, if you start hammering them on the roost, just start yelping up a storm, a lot of the times they'll just sit up in that tree and just wait for that hen to come under them, and then they'll fly down at them. So,
and then tactically, do you change? So if you've got high pressure areas, are you changing your tactics? Or how would that look?
Yeah. So, to be honest, most people blow their wad in like the first 2 weeks of the season, like April. And it's like one of my least favorite times to hunt because the birds are grouped up. They're gobbling a lot. It's fun. But like that's not the best time to hunt turkeys. The best time to hunt turkeys, especially in the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, is like the third weekend in May. Like right now is a great time to be out there hunting because the birds are going to be, a lot of the hens are going to be nesting right now. And that means if the hens are nesting, that means if they hear a hen, if they hear your call, they're going to be like, dang. Like,
there's one more girl in the bar.
They're maybe willing to cover a little bit more ground.
Yeah, this is
the last call. It's funny. 2 years ago, my neighbor Scott was over. He's turkey hunted all over the country. He's just one of them guys that he got into it for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and we're pulling an old tractor out of my barn, and he keeps hearing this turkey out behind in my property, or outside of my property, but in my woods. And we're pulling this tractor. It takes us 2 hours to get the tires on this tractor and everything. And he said, you hear that turkey? I'm like, I didn't hear it. He just keeps hearing this gobble, And this is like the day before. Well, it was like as late a Memorial Day as you could get, right? The very end of this month. And apparently this poor turkey has not ever got laid, or he got laid a lot and he wanted more.
Yeah. And
he says, you want to go kill that thing? I'm like, yeah, let's go out there. So we got the tractor out of the barn, dragged it over to his house, and it was almost so easy, it was surreal. We went out to the pipeline, we sat down by a stump, a couple of hen clucks, that thing started gobbling, and it just started working. I'm like, well, this is the dumbest. But to your point, it was the end of the year, they're all on nests, there's no more hens running around, and this guy is still like, the bar can't be closed. It can't be closed, And this turkey came in like he was on a string. And I managed to find out that a man who can shoot a grouse on the wing could actually miss a turkey standing still. That's embarrassing as all hell.
Yeah, you gotta aim at a turkey, apparently.
It's you want to talk about calling turkeys is counterproductive to, like, they're supposed to be there and the hens come in, but we're calling gobblers to us. Counterintuitive is you don't aim a shotgun, right? You point a shotgun.
Churchill, yeah.
I would have been better if I left that shotgun in my lap and just pulled it up and shot, because I sat there like pulled the trigger, and the bird literally, he did like a backflip and ran that way. So
never to be seen again.
Never to be seen. The following year I shot one, but we'll wait a little bit. I've got a really good turkey story from 1975 for you.
Ooh.
Here's another question, though.
So when it comes to decoys, so I guess what is your thoughts on decoys? And I know that there's kind of the debate of, do I throw out hens? Do I throw out toms? Is it is a breeding hen decoy or a resting hen decoy to do better than having a big old tom on strut? And does it matter if you're hunting late season versus early season with the decoys, where one's going to be better than the other?
There's not a hard and fast rule about it. Early season, I'll prefer to use a strutter decoy, just because they're trying to establish that dominance within the group. But that's not to say, like, later season that I won't use a strutter decoy. The nice thing, like we talked about, like a lot of times late season, the hens are going to nest. So if I have a hen decoy, that's all I need, because there's they're not competing for it. It's almost like the deer rut. Like at the beginning of the pre-rut, they're all into fighting, and that's when you're going to get out your rattling antlers. But come like post-rut or second rut, the deer don't want to fight anymore. They're just like, yeah, I'm sick of this. I'm just going to try to be pretty coy and slip in there. So later season, and even if like I'm hunting in the timber, I pretty much always just use a hen. But if I'm on a field or open field edge, I love using a strut decoy, especially like our killer bee, where you can pull the cord and the fan goes up and down. Like that movement drives them crazy.
I guess I haven't seen that.
Now, let me ask you, here's a question. I'm throwing one in. You always hear that term, the little bit I've been doing it now, you hear that term henned up, where they're, and I watched it out on an airstrip where I hunted a couple years ago, where there's a few hens. So like it seemed like no matter what we did, there was hens in there. You're not going to call them boys off them hens, right?
You can never compete with the real thing.
Right. So we just got lucky, and these hens decided they probably already, either they hadn't. I'm not quite sure about this, and you're not a turkey biologist, Ben, but so we're trying to get these turkeys in, and every game bird, lays like one egg a day, basically, within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And they keep going back to the nest. So are these hens laying eggs and then coming back out and looking for another guy? Or once they get bred, are they off the marquee? They're not, you know?
Yeah, so like once they lay a clutch of eggs, like they are only up to feed, like they feed. I think I think it's like twice a day for like a half hour, 45 minutes, and then they're back to the nest. So like they're pregnant. Like
right,
you're like, I'm done with this shit. Like I want to get back to the nest. Like I'm gonna sustain myself, get back to the nest. So they're pretty much off the market.
But I guess we need a turkey biologist, because I'm thinking like, all game birds can only lay one egg a day.
Yep.
And they don't sit on them. That's why they all hatch on the same day or close to the same day, because they just keep laying them on the ground basically in their nest, and eventually when they've hit their peak, then they start nesting on them. That way they all get warm and they all hatch out. I just wonder if these hens, once they're doing that 1 and 2 egg, are they coming back out to look for another dad, or are they just coming back out to,
Correct. I'm not. Don't take this as gospel, but I'm pretty sure it's like once they're bred, they're done. Like once they start laying eggs,
their focus shifts to the eggs and the chickens.
That's what I would think. What I would think.
So I mean, it's just like that kind of like that K versus R species theory, like numbers versus I have 1 or 2 and just kind of stick with them. So
who's got the best gobble wobble? So do we want to maybe start playing around with some calls now?
Yeah.
Well, the gobble wobble is pretty easy.
I mean, that's You got that down.
And that right there, and that story about the dog is the reason why Ron's got that.
Mine's not making any noise.
Well, you gotta take it. Oh, Jesus. You gotta there you go. Just keep doing that until it goes.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah. I think you got to work more on the horizontal plane.
Yep.
No, so
wait, it's like a hen clock.
I don't know how they do it up in Michigan, but
we're all figuring out how they do it up there in Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, like this is.
I should say down there.
But
is the wobble gobble? Is there any mouth work on the wobble gobble?
No, I don't know why. I don't know how you got that into your head.
That's
like, you don't put that in your mouth.
Doug, can you pull up the San Diego?
You got to do that.
Can Doug pull that up?
Tell me what it is.
Calling turkey San Diego style.
Calling turkey San Diego style.
Is it going to get us? Am I going to have to change our rating to 18 and over to do it?
No, because it was on the network news. That's G-rated.
I mean, it was on Wake Up San Diego or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Robert just nailed it with that comment.
This thing just got demonetized.
What's it look like?
What
video? What am I looking for?
No, it's not that at all. Get your head out of the gutter.
I have a feeling you're not going to want to pull that up.
So is it on YouTube?
It was way less intrusive than what Ron just did.
Okay.
Right. Host.
Yeah,
this
like
this
your
is
host.
really, while Doug's looking for that, this is really like too easy, isn't it? Almost. I mean,
Yeah.
Like if you're out in the woods and you want to get a shock gobble out of a bird, and you just
There you go.
right.
Yeah.
So like I have the double gobble, and you can go.
Oh, see now there you go, taking it to a low level.
Well, that's what you got to do.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's not widescreen enough. I'll say it so it's not creepy. It's just like it's one of those things. Like that's just how you do it. It's just like, that's what happened.
Two of my dogs are on high alert, and Bravo is sleeping through the whole thing. Look at this. Look at this hound dog back here. Look at him.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
He's like, oh God, he's drinking again.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm trying to find it. Is it a talk show?
Yeah, it's a morning.
Okay.
It'd be on YouTube. It'd be like a morning talk
I
show.
found it. And it's a woman using the call.
Yep.
Well, it was a very informative news segment about
Got
turkey calling, and
I got it. Here we
show
go.
that to everybody. There you go.
Can we do this though? You know,
Yeah,
young Jamie always is like he's hesitant to show it.
it's all right. We're not going to get kicked off of YouTube. We're not on it.
Oh, we can't hear this. Oh no.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Apparently, she never called a turkey. She'd have been better off with the diaphragm.
Oh, and they replay it in
Yeah,
slow-mo.
and like you can't hear the audio, but it's like, oh, it's fantastic. What song do they put behind it?
It's crazy, like midnight music.
Yeah. Let's get it on.
Yeah, like Marvin Gaye,
Yeah.
what they put behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get this.
So yeah, that's not how you use the call, but that's kind of like Primos lame claim to fame.
All right, I got a question for you about
Yeah.
pot and peg call maintenance, or
Yep.
like I'm trying to purr and it's kind of sliding across the slate. So is that a maintenance issue or is it operator error?
Yeah, so like a big thing about like slate calls or even slate glass or
Yeah.
frictionite, like don't try to touch. Like I spilled a little beer on here and you can see it got wet. So like when it gets wet, it's not great. So
Yeah, you need friction.
yeah, so we make this thing called the slick stick, and it's got like a diamond coat and a little bit finer, and then it also you can hold Scotch Brite. All you have to do for slate is Scotch Brite, and then it also holds.
For anybody that doesn't know, they usually send you a piece of that stuff with the pot call.
Yeah, exactly. So all you're doing is just reconditioning the call. So I like to do it in one direction. Like if I hold the call, normally indexed it like this,
Yep.
and I like to call up and down.
Yep.
I'll just sit and recondition the call.
Okay.
It's kind of like erasing a chalkboard, huh?
Yep. And then if you're using glass, you know that Scotch Brite doesn't work with a glass call, so that's where like your slick stick comes in, and you can sit and kind of re-rough it up. And the same thing goes for your striker. So
Hey, look, I got my mouth call to work.
you guys are getting a little bucky over here. So striker too, you can sit there and you want to make sure
Do
that
that with the striker. That's got to be roughed up a little bit.
or take that Scotch Brite and rough up your striker as well. And then I'll give you can feel it. It's really grippy.
So, and I know that none of these work really well when they get wet, but have you ever used an aluminum, like an aluminum over aluminum?
Yes.
So I just got one of those, and it seems to be a little bit easier when it is really wet outside and call gets.
Yep, I keep an aluminum call in my vest just because glass gets a little weird too in the rain, but aluminum is great for rainy days.
Are you calling this glass? I thought this.
No, that's slate.
That's slate. So that's a Pennsylvania slate. Like this is glass or crystal right here. It's kind of like
All right.
so, but like Pennsylvania slate for me is like the end all be all. It's an awesome. It just sounds super turkey to me. So, slate call wise, you know how you run it is for yelping. You're pretty much running it in like a J motion. So it's.
Yep.
So
That's really, I mean,
Yeah.
And for the total amateurs out there, a big light bulb moment for me was when I figured out, I read enough or I saw a video where, like, because I was trying to do like a J or something, but really you're making circles with this thing. You don't have to lift it up, and you're just making circles. And once you do that, it becomes super easy.
Yeah, exactly. You can kind of look like it's kind of hard to see it because I just reconditioned that. Let me see if I can you can kind of see what my stroke looks like. So like you can, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know if you can see that at all.
Not really, but yeah.
Up on the top there, it's just really a circle.
Yep.
And the big thing you have to look out for with pot calls is you don't want to sit and palm it because you're really killing. Like a lot of that tone is coming out from the backside of the call.
Yeah.
You really want to hold it like this. And
Like
same
this
thing on
one that we have has these tone holes.
yeah.
You don't want to cover those up, or you could cover up one to change the tone, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So like that's more advanced, and you can start covering up those holes and change the tone. So between like clucks and purrs or yelps, and start moving your fingers and just make it sound like 2 or 3 different turkeys clucking and purring, yelping back and forth with each other.
They talk about like how good the turkey's eyes are, right? And we know, they're really good. So you're sitting here in the blind, right? You're sitting here, and everyone's, ooh, sounds good. All right, how are you going to get this down and get your shotgun up?
That's what the mouth call's for.
Ah, there you go.
Yep.
Let's get into that.
That's
Like
one
once they
pro.
get it-
That's one pro of the mouth call. Is it's hands free.
Yep. And so
I got
once
this,
you
I got
learn
this locked down.
That sounds like a horse.
yeah. There you go.
It's like Monty Python.
So the yelp is the easiest one. That's just going around. So if we wanted to do a cluck, you're basically it's just a shorter version. You're straight line, and you're almost skipping. It almost like skips across it. It feels like.
Yep. So you're just applying more pressure just to get it to.
Oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Kind of, yeah.
So that's a cluck. Is just yelp is just the circle. Where a cluck is just you apply a little bit more pressure and.
I'll be right back.
And you're almost not holding it at the same angle too. So it seems like it's a little less of an angle.
Yep, but you apply more pressure, so like you said, it kind of skips over it. And then, like my favorite thing to do, like to get like really what I'll do is if I can get them to gobble and I can get within 150, 200 yards, all I'll do is just sit and just cluck and purr at them. It just sounds like this. I might throw in a little yelp like this, just super light, just really soft calling like that. So all a purr is you just hold it light and just drag it over that surface. Just
Oh,
All right. So now we want to see Ron how well he does at his diaphragm call because he was killing it earlier.
yeah. This is not easy. Okay.
No.
This is really not easy. Now the little cut part
Goes up.
faces out
yep,
Mhm.
goes on the top.
on the top,
Yep.
Yep.
and
So the black goes up. Black faces up.
yeah, but I mean, all right. There's Primos on one side and a little.
Primos goes face down.
Yeah.
So the black cuts are up.
Black and
That cuts are up
Yeah.
against the roof of your mouth.
Yeah, you put it up against the roof of your mouth, and you try. Once you put it up there, I like to try to slide it to the front of my, so it starts to hit the front of my, like right
back of
here
your
on my teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I got a big space. That tickled my tongue.
It does, yeah. You got to move your tongue forward, I think.
Oh. Is that you, Doug?
If this is my tongue, if this is my tongue, I'd have my tongue hanging over about this much right here.
Really? Okay. Are you blowing or?
You don't suck it. You can't suck it. Freaking swallow the cough.
So are you blowing from your throat or your cheeks or what?
So the big thing is with turkey calling is you don't imagine if you're sitting up against the mirror in the bathroom.
Ooh.
And think about if you're trying to fog up the mirror. You don't want to be going, like you're trying to, blow out a candle. It's like a huff. It's a like if you're trying to fog up a mirror. That's what you're trying to do. That's where you're really blowing from your diaphragm, not your mouth.
Well, so the opposite of how you blow into a DUI straw.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we're talking
The
about.
light bulb just went off for everybody now.
Now I'm a turkey caller. I'm sorry, officer.
So what does an alarm call sound like?
An alarm call.
The putt.
Yeah, I mean the putt is really like it can sound like a clock, but a lot of the times it's going to be.
I've heard it. I've definitely heard it.
Yeah, versus but then a clock is literally the same thing. If you're going.
Yeah.
They don't sound any different.
They don't sound a whole lot different, but it's just that really that perfectly spaced out.
It almost feels like my tongue's getting a 9-volt battery on it. It keeps tickling or shocking. Doug's got it.
So take your tongue, Ron, and extend it past the mouth call and pinch it up to the top of the roof of your mouth, past the mouth call.
That ain't bad.
It's not hitting my tongue. Man, it literally it feels like I got electricity on the end of my tongue.
So a lot of your tongue is probably too close to the end of the reed, so it's tickling your tongue.
Feeling the vibration.
Move your mouth call forward, so your tongue is cutting off the air.
God, don't die on us here.
Mine sounds like a chickadee. So let's break it down, and there's two parts of a yelp, like we talked about the box called the high and the low sound. So everyone put it in your mouth and go.
Just try to make that noise.
Make that sound. That's the first part of the yelp. No, don't even try to make it sound like a turkey. Just give that high pitch up.
Can't get it.
So if you're
curious, how many people are watching on mute right now?
So you're getting too much rafts. So use your tongue to push up on the reeds more. You get that.
It tickles too much.
So your tongue is going like this: high note, low note. So yelp, 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 yelp. Exactly. So it's going.
You know what? This almost sounds like a female elk bugle.
You probably could use it
like that.
Like this, you can do.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly.
Yeah. So the cool thing about turkey calls, you can do elk calls, you can do coyote calls, we can do whatever the hell you want.
You can do dying rabbit call too.
Oh yeah.
So the middle of the tongue controls the air, right?
So yes, like I like to use the middle of my tongue. So if I'm purring, I'll use more some people use their uvula in the back, like the little dangly thing. So I can't do that. So I'll use the tip of my tongue. So and all my tongue is doing is fluttering over, like right over the reeds. But when I'm just yelping, then I'm using more the middle of my tongue.
So here, let's mute Ron. No. What can you do that purr again?
That's what I'm curious about the mouth call purr for sure.
And then I want to hear it go.
Yeah, where to start.
Some people can like imagine you're gargling water like that with the back of your throat, your uvula. I can't do that. I've never been able to do it. So that's how a lot of people will do a purr. But I use my tongue and I'll kind of flutter it right over the, just right here, and I'll flutter it and trying to get that sound. So it sounds like this. And I'm not great at it, but it goes turkey. So.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Sounds like a slate call.
Yeah.
So, and then that's really like the best thing you can do is whenever you're driving somewhere, keep a turkey call in your truck.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because that's how I really learned how to do it better is every day on the way home from work, I'd have a turkey call and I'd just be screwing around. And what I did is I'd listen to I'd turn on YouTube and listen to the Grand National calling contest. And I just try to emulate what they were doing and trying to make it sound like that, moving my tongue around.
That's how Tyler learned how to shoot birds. He kept a shotgun in his truck.
Yeah.
Same thing.
When he was delivering mail, he just had his shotgun.
And eventually you learned to shoot him on the wing.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I did for about 15 years.
Who's doing that?
Me.
Was that you, Doug? Oh, not your mouth. That's your.
Is that your slate?
Yeah.
Or your box?
Yeah, slate call. I don't want to say that I know what I'm doing. Bravo, go lay down.
It's the quickest road to success.
Right. But you know what? If you do the slate call, at least your ears knows what it's supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
When you're putting this in here, and
a lot more going on.
Yeah.
So you're getting out. What's it like? You're sitting down and it's just you've done your locator call and now you're ready to actually get in and start calling some birds. What's that process start out as? So you know that they're there because they're gobbling off the tree, but now it's time to get down to business.
So what I'll normally do is all right, if they're 300 yards away and I know they can't see me, I'll sit and this is, let's just say, let's just say it's off the roost, or let's say it's not off the roost, because I don't like to call as much off the roost, but say I strike one in the middle of the day, I get him to gobble on the box call doing something like this. Let's just say he doesn't gobble when I'm going. I stop, listen, he doesn't gobble. Then I'll start and make a cackle. I'll go. And then all of a sudden, boom, he fires off. I hear him. It's all right, game on. So I'll go, and whenever I'm calling, whenever I'm prospecting, I'll stop in an area that I think I can kill that bird in. So it's all right, when I stop, it's all right, there's a tree I can sit down by. Because let's just say I do that and all of a sudden that bird fires off at 70 yards. The last thing you want to be is in an area that you can't shoot that bird. So I'll pick out a tree before, I'll go sit down, and then a lot of the times, just because I've gotten a lot more comfortable with it, I'll just throw in a mouth call right away. But for that in between distance, I'll pick up a slate call and just give a couple.
So your yelp is almost half circles, it looks like.
Yeah. And then if that turkey is super fired up, if I hit him on that box call and he double gobbles at me, and then I sit down and I hit him on that slate call and he's just hammering, he's just blowing down the woods, I'll just shut up. I won't say another word because, if he's fired up, he's going to close that distance. And
There's more you screwing it up if you keep going.
Exactly. And, like it's just like a deer. Like you could call a deer from like 400 yards away. You can make 2 grunt calls. And if that deer hears you, he can pinpoint you to that exact tree. Same thing with turkeys. So the biggest thing I see is overcalling. So, but then like nowadays I'll put in the mouth call and, if I think he's coming, I'll just sit and just do clucks and purrs. Just,
sounds like puppies sleeping.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's just like they make it like those woo sounds. Like it says little like clucks and purrs. And like if you can get away with it, like if you got a buddy behind you or like you're behind a big oak tree, one of the absolute best calls is scratching leaves. Like I've killed a number of turkeys just like if you're in an oak, a big oak flat, and I'll just go swipe, 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 and I'm just hitting the leaves. Like a turkey's just picking through the grass or picking through the litter.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is probably one of the best turkey calls ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like the elk callers that take sticks and branches and break branches and sound like they're roughing up their antlers and stuff.
Same exact thing. Yeah.
Or if you're hunting with a buddy, you almost want that guy calling behind you a ways because you want the bird working towards you, and you want to be kind of in the in the middle there to head them off.
And especially if you have terrain to work with, like say, because again, the turkey is going to get to a spot where he thinks he can see that hen. And if he doesn't see a hen, he's going to hang up there and he's just going to be like, oh, I don't see anything. So I'm going to turn around and leave. So you can use terrain to your advantage. So if I'm sitting up on the top of the hill and my buddy's back behind me calling, that turkey has to get up over that ridge to see it. And, same principle we use with elk hunting. We call it the call through method is if they're going to hang up, they're going to hang up at 80, 100 yards just outside of gun range. So if you can get that guy 100 yards behind you, that turkey's going to hang up on top of you, and he's not going to be looking for you like right on the spot. He's going to be looking past you. It's like, all right, where's that head? And so that's a really good tactic.
What type of gun and choke are you using? Are you the extra full, and are you hunt with optics or?
Yeah, so I don't hunt with optics just because I've got a Browning Gold that I hunt with. It's my waterfall guns, and I don't want to tap it for optics.
Mm-hmm.
But to put a red dot on, if you have like a turkey gun that you hunt with a lot, like a red dot is pretty damn invaluable. It's awesome to have on there, just especially with like ammunition these days. So I shoot TSS, federal TSS, like number 9s. And that is a complete game changer. Like before with like copper plated 6s or something like that, you're shooting, 50 yards is pushing it. Number 9. So number 9 TSS, imagine like it's what you shoot for trap is 7.5s or 8s.
Mm-hmm.
These things are like grains of sand. They're tiny. So you have, say you have a 2-ounce load, you have damn near 1,000 pellets in that.
Probably more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just fills out that pattern density way better, but it's so dense it carries that energy of us. So I think what do they say? Like a number 9 is equivalent to a lead 6 or something like that.
Dense. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's changed the way and not like, I love to call a turkey right into my lap, but if a turkey hangs up at 60 yards, I'm going to blow the shit out of it.
So isn't the school of thought with the TSS that you can use a more open choke too because you got such pattern density?
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I see with new turkey hunters or is they'll buy this stuff and they'll never pattern it. So you have to look at like what TSS out of like, because I'll shoot like we make a TSS choke tube and it's super tight. I mean, like at 20 yards, my pattern is like, I don't know, probably like a cantaloupe, like that big.
Jeez.
And at 50 yards, what are they, like 90% of my pattern is within 10 inches.
Wow.
At 50 yards?
Yeah, 50 yards.
Holy crap.
So like for a new turkey hunter or someone that their nerves are getting jangled, it's a terrible idea because like, and especially shooting a bead, you're way off. So like you said, Nick, like a modified or just a factory full choke with shooting TSS, like that's what I would do.
I've got TSS. I have to check the shot. Actually, I was down at Federal and they gave me a handful of them. So I'm shooting TSS. I got a Beretta 8th 391 right here. That's what I'm going to shoot. I mean, should I put a modified in there? That's what I was going to do.
I would put well, I mean, you know, if you shot it before, have you seen what it does on paper?
I've never patterned it, so I'm that guy, but I don't hunt turkeys.
Yeah, so I mean,
all the more reason I should go pattern my gun.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, Nick. You know what? If you ever do all this shit right, you might get a mustache when you get older.
So I would. I mean, if you can, they're expensive, but it's worth shooting one shot.
I can go shoot a paper target with one.
Go shoot one at 40 yards. Like just get a big blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
Put a dot in the middle and shoot it, and especially because each gun reacts differently.
Yeah.
So you could be shooting 10 inches freaking high with your bead. How you line up on the gun.
Right. Yeah.
Face pressure and whatnot. So that's why a red dot is super nice because you can put in bird shot and pattern at 20 yards.
Yeah.
And shoot a TSS shell at it and you're dialed.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing, like point of aim. So like when I'm fighting in a new gun, I'll set a target up at like 10 yards and put a dot on it and just pull up naturally and shoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to get that point of aim.
Yep, where you're at.
I've seen people like 4 or 5 inches higher, 10 yards. So imagine what that's doing at 50 yards.
Yeah.
That pattern's going over their head. So that's, but I would shoot, I mean, if it was me, I would shoot a factory full choke. You'll probably be pretty good. If you're new into it, I definitely, like if you're new to like shooting shotguns or you're nervous, you know, you think you're going to get all buck fever type, I'd throw in a modified and try to keep your distance under 35, 40 yards. So
gotcha.
Let's see if we got any.
Oh, I got one other question about like shooting the bird. So this is a hypothetical situation. If the stars align for me, like let's say a Tom's coming in. Let's say he's in full strut. I feel like I've heard you're not supposed to shoot at a bird that's in full strut. Is that right?
Well, I mean, that's just for messing up the feathers. Like,
you're still gonna kill it.
If you want that son of a bitch to die, like if you have a good shot, because what you do, you know, you aim at the wattles right here.
Yeah.
And if you've got a good shot, he's facing you full strut, and you know you're scared, and you just want to make sure he dies. You can shoot him; he'll be fine. But you know, generally, what I like to do is get on the mouth call and just go.
And he'll pop his head up.
Or I'll just, even I'll do like, we were talking about the alarm call, like I'll just go, and then he'll stick his head up and bang.
Right. So that was going to be my question is like, what is the risk factor of like trying to get him to pop his head up? And
if he's under 30 yards, I don't think there is one.
Yeah, if you have your gun up and you're just feet on him, and then just tick, 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 he'll stick his head up and boom. Yeah. So generally they won't just like freaking
immediately take off.
Yeah, they stick their head up, look around, and then bang, you shoot them. So
gotcha.
But I wouldn't make that call and then do like a
right.
I'd be up there watching them. So.
Similar to deer hunting, I mean, you want to be ready at that point.
Yeah. You don't want to grunt at them, and then draw. You want to be on the draw already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could almost just give them, you like actually say something now. Hey,
right.
now. And it's going to lift its head up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So a couple people are asking, do you pluck your birds? Do you skin them out? Do you just breast them and deleg them? What's your go-to method for prepping birds?
So I'm like the world's worst, like full turkey fryer guy. Like which is sad because I've lived in the South now, but there's some guys that can fry a wild turkey that'll blow your mind. The big thing is there's like just injecting them with like Cajun butter and whatnot, but I'm terrible at it. Like my whenever I fry a turkey, it turns out like shit. It's just awful. So my go-to is I'll breast them out, and I've got a bunch of great recipes now. It's just like I'll make like a sesame. Imagine like a sesame chicken like you get from an Asian restaurant. Mm-hmm. I'll do that with turkeys, or like do a stir fry like with the breast. But I'll save the legs, and I'll put them on the Camp Chef and smoke them low and slow type deal. But if you're good at frying turkeys, like fried wild turkey is awesome. I'm just terrible at it. I wish I was better, but I'm awful.
So I don't see any new. I know we got some stuff that we wanted to give away.
Yeah.
So typically, how we do this is that we just ask. You get to pick some questions that you want to ask. So I think you said you had 2 calls there, right? That you wanted to give away.
Yeah, I can give away. I got a Tall Timber Gabriel box call and some slate calls. So if anyone's got, I mean, the sky's the limit, really. If there's people that want calls, just keep asking questions. We can keep answering them for the next 9 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave that up to you. So coming up with that many questions. So do you see the chat going on the side there?
I see the chat. Let me go.
Yeah, switch to live. Yeah, that's where the fun is.
Oh gosh, dang!
So you're missing the whole. That's part
we got to remind our guests about that because that's not
true. I didn't know it the whole first episode.
You're missing all the fun stuff.
There's a lot there.
So I'm trying to find a turkey trivia question in my trivia book.
So what we typically do is, we just ask the trivia question. So now that you can see the live chat, you can go through and you just ask the question. So I'm going to put it out here now that if you are the winner and we say your name and tell you you're the winner, send a message to the Hunters Happy Hour at gmail.com with what question you answered and what you won, so that I can get your information over to Ben. But don't be like the last winners and not include a shipping address or any other detail except for, hey, I won something. Okay, so make sure you put your name, the shipping address, and tell me what you won. The Hunters Happy Hour at gmail.com. So I'll put it there in the message in the below. But yeah, so if you want to, you get to pick the questions and then look at the right-hand side for the right answer.
Yep.
And we can get after it.
So the first question, this is for all you OG Turkey Primos fans, is what year was Primos hunting founded in? What year?
Good one. And go.
And everybody's on the Google machine.
Someone's Googling that one.
Yeah, exactly. It's distributed. So what year was Primos hunted founding in?
So I've noticed on my pot
we got 72, 82, 84, 94, 81, 82, 83, 79, 85, 92, 65.
Can you see what is that the first one?
Which one?
Nick Hebner.
76?
Yep.
76.
All right.
1 year after I graduated high school.
6 years before I was born.
Yeah.
I could be your daddy.
Yeah, well, you're. I don't remember, man. I'll let that go. Nick, so, it was almost not going to be polite enough for. So Nick, go ahead and send us an email with what question you answered. So what is that? What's Nick winning? Or are we just going to do a surprise and they get it in the mail?
First, I'll give away. This is a prototype, but the Tall Timber Gabriel. This is like the premier high end. This is the best box call I've ever ran. It retails for about $80. It's better. So.
All right, Nick.
Right on.
Nick. You hit it, man. All right, so.
Hey, ask Nick if he got lucky or did he Google? Just it don't matter. He won.
Right.
Fast Googling now.
Or did he know it?
Actually slow. I was surprised it took him so long to figure it out.
I was thinking there, I was like, I hope 1976 is the right answer. But then I remembered like every password, it's like something 1976. So,
nobody hack into the Primos mainframe.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone. He says lucky guess.
Nice.
Nice lucky guess.
Nice.
No. Oh, for sure. All right.
Well, you want to hear a story from 1975 on turkey hunting?
Yeah, let's do it. And then he'll ask the next question.
So I was in high school. Who's got their turkey call going?
Not me.
Nick?
Not me.
Doug?
Doug? Hand check, everyone.
Just because I talked over Doug on the first episode.
That's a pitch.
He's still trying to.
That was technical difficulties, Doug.
This is as they say, is a true story. In 1975. Okay. In 1975, I was fixing to graduate high school. Now, that was debatable whether I'd graduate or not, but that was the year I was scheduled to graduate.
You were fixing to.
I was fixing to. So me, Donnie James, Jimmy Karras, and Dave and Agnes.
Those are made-up names.
They're not. They're real names
I
from
love it.
the south side of Chicago. We all got into trap shooting, hunting, and everything else. So we wanted to go boar hunting. We knew we could go on a senior class trip, but what was really weird was all these seniors in school, they wanted to go down to Texas and Florida to get drunk. Like it was like a woo party. Like, oh, we're gonna go away from our parents. We've been drinking since we were sophomores. It wasn't a big deal for us to go somewhere, and we wanted, because we hunted a little bit. We went down to Tennessee. It was in Crossville, Tennessee, to go pig hunting, boar hunting with dogs. And we went down there, and it was in the springtime, end of spring, and the guide said, "Do any of you guys want to go turkey hunting?" And I said, "I love it." And I'm like, "I do. I'd love to." And they had extra tags. It was like an outfitter type place, and it was $50 to shoot a turkey. And I said, "I'll do it." So I had brought my shotgun with me anyway, because I always, I brought that. I brought a 30-30 lever action and a pistol that my dad had in his name because I wasn't old enough to have a pistol. And
Doug, pull up that Dale B comment.
I was going to.
Med swim class.
We got to keep that going.
Well, three of us did.
I was going to tell you, this is a good one, and he only knows this because on episodes 1 and 3, Ron also told this story. But let's go ahead and finish it.
Okay.
So we go down there, we go pig hunting, and this guide's name is Buttons, of all things. Buttons. I'm not afraid.
Oh, yeah.
Another made-up name.
Shut up. And so I go out with him in the morning, and we get up in this big rock pile. We're in Crossville, Tennessee. I guess that's part of the Smoky Mountains. And he's got a box call, and he's he's hitting a box call. And I got my 1100 with number 6 shot. Remington 1100 with 6 shot. And I'm hiding behind this little rock, and I'm waiting, and I'm talking to him. I don't know. I can't remember if it was 20, 30, 40 minutes. And all of a sudden, now we did not hear this turkey gobble. And all of a sudden, Buttons is right behind my shoulder. He goes, hey, see a turkey? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And this turkey, now I gotta go backstory here. I have, in Chicago, let alone Northern Illinois, there was no turkey hunting. Nobody heard of it. Nobody talked about it. There was no podcast. There was no Google. There was no internet. Because I wanted to go pig hunting, somebody said, "You want to go shoot a turkey?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." I have no idea how you are supposed to shoot a turkey.
Oh, yeah.
I have this much information, but I have a guide behind my shoulder, and I got a shotgun in front of me. And I see this turkey, his head like, he's coming through these rocks.
So what language was that turkey speaking?
I think it was Tennessee.
We've moved on from German.
It was one of the baby talkers.
It was like, it was
Senor, vamos, come here, vamos.
And I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm looking at the ugly. This is a God's truth. I never saw a turkey with my own eyes. It just sounded like I should do this. I have money. I'll go do it. And I see this ugly-looking, red-headed, white-faced thing coming through the rocks. And this guide's on my shoulder. He goes, hey, shoot. In my mind, this turkey is still walking. You don't shoot a bird on the ground. Not that I was that ethical. From the pheasant hunting times I've had in Illinois preserves.
Yeah, with your snare traps.
Snare traps. Right?
It's just that I did not know. And I stood up with that shotgun and I went, yeah! And the turkey picked his head up and he started running and he started flying. And I took that 1100 and I went, poof! And I folded that turkey up on the ground. And that guide, he told that story for 2 more days. He says, this goddamn Yankee, he says, yeah! And that turkey flew away and he shot the bucker. So honest to God, I did not know that you were supposed to shoot the poor fuckers walking. It doesn't even seem fair. Now, fast forward 40 years, and I missed one at 30 yards.
Right.
I can see why you want to shoot them while they're walking. But it was total. This guy said, he goes, all right, shoot. And I just stood up, and I stood up, and the turkey didn't see me. And I went, yeah! And then the turkey started running and took off. And I dumped it. So there's my first turkey story.
What was the guy's name? Because everyone says that it was different the last time.
I thought Buttons sounded right.
Buttons. Buttons. Buttons.
I'm going to remember that for the next time he tells it.
That's so gentlemanly of you. Like, that is just...
Yeah.
Well, I've always been a gentleman. I'm Lutheran.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I don't see any new questions, and we got
one more call to give away, don't we? Ron, you got a trivia question there?
One more.
What's that?
You got a trivia question there?
Yeah, I got another trivia one.
You got something else to give away?
Oh, yeah, we can give away.
Yep.
Oh, well, hang on a minute. You guys.
Doug does have a birthday to celebrate, so we don't want to keep him.
All right, one more. So, a call of your choice, anything you want, duck, turkey, whatever.
I guarantee the person's going to request that gobble call that Ron's got.
Will you sign that call and send it to him?
That's right. Yep.
Oh.
You put lipstick on and then send it to him?
Questions for
glitter gloss.
So the question is, what year was the first box call ever patented?
Ooh. I have no idea.
Yep, it was the Gibson box call.
Sounds like a Gibson guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So we got
Arkansas.
77, 1912, 1960, or 1890.
Getting closer.
1862.
No.
1968. So 1946. So 1812 was the closest so far?
No, it was like 18 something.
64, yeah. 1942, 1897.
1897.
1897. Who was that?
Patman.
Patman. All right, Patman. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to send an email to the Hunter's Happy Hour. Have your pick of what type of call?
Any call you want, whether it's turkey, deer, elk, predator, whatever.
That's awesome. And just send us an email with what you're looking for and your shipping address.
So go to primos.com and you can pick any call you want.
It's going to find the one with the highest dollar value.
Yep, that works. Yep.
All right.
Listen.
The Google box says it was 1990 or 1900.
So I guess it was necessarily like the first patented. It was Get some turkey calling gobbler. It was patented, I think, January 5th, 1897. I think it was like Simmons Hardware in St. Louis, Missouri. That was like the first patented turkey call. Call.
Hey, I got a trivia question for everybody, and there's no prize because I'm going through the Outdoor Life Volume 1 trivia game here.
1987.
All right, let's see.
Do you want to put a prize to it? Because I got more prizes to give. We can do like the Will Primos signature. Call.
Baby!
Let's do a signed Will Primos signed box call for this one.
Can I play on that one?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
You can play.
My Google machine is moving faster.
Will Primos signed box.
I don't think you can Google this one. I don't think you can Google this. In 1903, that's 1903, like a long time ago.
Long freaking time ago.
Hunters received $32 per ounce. That's 2 times the gold price back in 1903. $32 per ounce for what kind of bird plumes or feathers? How's that?
Grouse.
No, Nick, not rough grouse.
Come on, had to try.
Ron, is that like beaver? Did I see beaver plumes?
You said
No,
bird
it's a bird plume. It's a bird plume.
Well, I saw somebody commented beaver, and so I think that should just win.
Eagle.
Wait, where did I? Oh, Robert Batterson got
Egret.
it. Egret.
Wow.
Holy shit! How did he get it?
Damn.
Is Google that good, or is he that
It
smart?
is. Google does say that. I just checked it.
Oh my god!
So Robert wins a Will Primos signed box call.
Big call.
He wins just because he's good with Google.
Yeah.
That's the way the world works now.
You know, it's just probably not fair to have trivia questions anymore with Google. Oh, you know what I could do?
Being
All right.
To be honest, nobody's gonna know these without Google anyway.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's see who listens to my podcast the most. Because you can't Google. You
How
can't
about for
Google.
this? We'll give away Onyx memberships for these ones because now I work for Onyx.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Ben's doing a little bit of this, right?
He's just like,
Hey, I'm going out and coming in. I got to make a splash.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Onyx membership elite for this.
All right. This would only come up. It's been out there. What year? I'm not saying what podcast, mine or somebody else's. This you can't Google this, but if you're a follower of me or other podcasts, how old in my photo album is my oldest? I kept it. My Illinois hunting license. From what year is my oldest hunting license?
Shoot, I don't know that one.
Mm-mm.
Well, we could probably
Well, you're gonna be able to get close to it.
retroactively figure out
Like, yeah, you know it wasn't 1990.
what was the 76.
Gerald Bridges got it.
72.
72. Gerald Bridges got it.
Gerald takes home on X.
Nice.
so Gerald, all you need is their email address, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so just let it know that you want an Onyx, and I'll just snag your email address that you want attached to it. So if you've already got an Onyx membership, send me that email address. If you're not using that one to send the email.
Cool.
Are you done asking questions, Ron? Or you got more?
Oh, I could come up with some.
I see the birthday balloons hovering there behind Doug.
Yeah, so my son insisted that there be balloons, but he decided Batman was the best type of balloons for his
Obviously.
mother. Yeah. And my wife hates cake and sweets, so automatically my kids also insisted that there's cake. So there's a cake that they begged me to buy that's still sitting back there too.
That's something you'll have to work through in your life, Doug.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm lucky enough to bag myself a turkey next week, I'm going to credit it to you, Ben.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't take my advice. I'd just go on YouTube and find some random.
I'm gonna walk through the woods with my shotgun and see what happens. And
I trained my first dog from
calls.
YouTube. I don't recommend that to anybody.
No.
All right. So,
Boys.
anything else that we didn't hit on that you think we ought to, Ben, before we wrap things up?
No, unless anyone's got any other questions, I think we're good to roll. So.
All right. So, when we end the stream here, what I want you guys to do is I want you to leave a comment and comment the one thing that you're going to take away the next time you head out into the turkey woods. So your favorite takeaway from the show. Don't forget to give us a like
right here
and a thumbs up. What is that? Your Beretta?
Beretta A391. Somebody asked what gun I was going to shoot.
Oh.
I'm going to shoot this one. Might as well use it.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, and please, 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 we beg you to. Ben's got a question. He's holding up his.
Somebody asked what kind of striker this is.
Oh,
yeah.
777 striker right here. Nick's got it. Ron's got it. Doug's got it. This is the 777 or the cut and
dandy
Kiki striker, which is a laminate wood, is the way to go.
All right. So give us a like. Do me a favor and share this amongst your social media. We would greatly appreciate it. And until next week, we will see you guys all later.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Ben.
See you guys. Love you all.